Morning, Mad Blender and Ren Skywalker. How are you guys this morning? Hey, new person is watching. How's everyone this morning? Oh, wow. Well, I got up at 6. Does that count? Ren Skywalker says it's good, but it's 4 p.m. here in London. Um, are you always an early riser, or did you get up just to watch me? Ah, so people brought food, Mad Blenders, eating some peanut butter and banana toast. Cool. So, this morning, it's all about food for me. This particular broadcast, and so this morning, I have this to consume, and I took a picture before I. So it's on my Facebook right now, and it's on my. I don't know if you guys can see, but I went across the street to this huge field that's full of chicory, and so I am eating. That is 6 bananas. They're fair trade bananas and an apple. I'm not sure what the apple is, but I'm fairly sure that it's a Michigan apple. And so, and I also put some ginger in there, but I took the picture before I decided to put the ginger in there. So, yeah, so I'm going to get through this. And so when this is gone, that's when the broadcast is over, but I won't rush. Vegan Nutella. Ren Skywalker says I just had some vegan Nutella sandwiches and 2 apples. That sounds delicious. I don't think I've had is Nutella normally it's normally not vegan, right? I don't know if I've had Nutella. Is it Nutella or Nutella? Is it like new as in brand new or nuts as in peanuts and stuff like that? It's good. It's good, y'all. You're in PA. Where in PA, Mad Blender? Because I'm from Pennsylvania. I mean, you don't have to give me your full address unless you want to. But where in PA are you? Near Scranton. I'm trying to think of where Scranton is. Where from, just because I drive across Pennsylvania so often, I've driven across Pennsylvania to get to Detroit, actually. So I'm originally from Philadelphia, but I moved to Detroit from Brooklyn. Oh, cool. So Nutella is not normally vegan, but they have a vegan version in supermarkets in the UK. I wonder if they have it here in the US. 2 hours, 2 hours. Do you think it's 2 hours north? I'm trying to think Scranton. because I don't pass through Scranton on the drive. I go along 80. If I'm driving along 80, is it in the vicinity of like Route 80 or is it south? Oh, I've been also, I realized that there are some people who watch the broadcast on my YouTube channel, which like I don't even know how they're doing it, but there seem to be some people who can watch it on YouTube. Hey, some people subscribe to me. Um, so do you guys know anything about that? Do you know how people are able to watch it on YouTube? Okay. So Mad Blender Route 80 is 30 minutes south of you. Yeah, so I probably Hey Kearney, good morning. Thank you for joining us. I almost brought plants, but I thought, oh, if I get into bringing plants every week, then they won't be a surprise when they get huge. So, Kearney, are my eyebrows on fleek? If you sign up with Google Plus, it links to your YouTube subscriptions, but the comments on YouTube don't come through on your, yeah, they don't, which is really weird because I don't see them, but I'd love to be able to communicate with the people who are watching on YouTube. Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, and you might be watching on YouTube right now, if you're making comments, I don't see your comments on until after I see the video live on my YouTube, not live on the YouTube channel, but the video will post to the YouTube channel once it's done broadcasting here, and that's when I see the chat messages. And so, if you have a question for me, you can go ahead and ask it, and I'll respond to it when the thing is posted live on YouTube. But otherwise, I won't see it. So I'm not. So if you're talking to me, I'm not ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you. There aren't even that many of us in the room right now, so it's a great group to have kind of a conversation about some stuff. Conversation about some stuff. Yeah. But Matt Blender, Fleek, bro. Thanks, Kearney. So for those of you who are watching on you now, there are other people who are probably watching via YouTube. I think Ethan was watching on YouTube last Sunday, and then some of you caught. Was that fun, you guys? Hanging out with who was here for the broadcast with me and Ethan on Tuesday for Convertible. I feel like it puts the link to the YouNow broadcast in the description. Yes, you were here last Sunday. But did you watch it? I feel like maybe you watched it later on and maybe made some comments. But yeah, so cool. So yeah, Ethan was here, and we did some work on the house after our broadcast. But something just to know, I don't know if you guys were aware, but Ethan's going vegan, obviously, and he was doing it originally for 30 days. It was just going to be him being vegan for 30 days. And at the beginning of it, I was like, you know what, Ethan? You're going to love being vegan. I can tell you're going to love being vegan. And when you are vegan at the end of this challenge, you're going to owe me dinner. You're going to buy me dinner. And, last week we were talking, he was like, oh yeah, I owe you dinner. So I guess that was his way of saying that he really loves being vegan. So you guys, we have a new vegan. We should be really happy about that. Those who care. Yeah. Yeah, that really is awesome. And so, yeah, we get to continue kind of on this vegan journey together. And then, I announced in one of my videos, I think it was my Wednesday update, that we were going to be doing this run, and I think for us it's going to be 10 miles, but we're going to invite some people to join us. Well, what happened was I was like, "Do you guys want to go? Do you want to go with me on this run?" And I was like, "Do you want me to take my camera and videotape us while we're doing this like long run, which is the longest run that Ethan has ever done?" Ethan, who I keep calling vegan, and I think maybe that mistake is not so bad. But I actually call him Ethan Vegan as his name from time to time because it has the same syllables and it ends with an A, and I don't know what that's about. But some people, like one person said, like, "Yeah, I want to join you," but I don't know if that person's actually in Detroit. So I'm thinking that we might do something like turn our one of our runs into like maybe a vegan run for people. I don't know. So that's particular. I guess that's especially for people who are in Detroit. How far do we run? Well, I think I said 10 miles. The goal is to run from Alt Space, which is here where I am, to run from Alt Space to Belle Isle, which is the city park in Detroit, and it's in the river. It's in the I want to say the Detroit River, but I think Detroit means river. But hello, has Ethan watched one of the hello, has Ethan watched one of the first convertible videos recently? Oh, that would be really cool. That would actually be a fun video to have him watch the first episode of the first episodes. It was ugly. things were things were kind things were kind of ugly. So so some things. What do I want to talk about? So by the way, you guys, I never talk about things like pop culture and the like, but I realize that this is an opportunity for to talk about anything like lighthearted stuff too. So I am totally down to talk about you know the fun stuff that I do as well, not just because we could get on here and we could really start talking about. I've been watching Dr. Claude Anderson, who I believe is from Detroit, and I believe he's an economist. He seems to focus on economy, and he's done work for the government, and he has these talks, man, that have been blowing my mind. He's talking specifically about like wealth, and particularly about wealth in like the African American community. So I'm going to make some videos about it, so that's something to look out for. But we don't have to talk about that stuff today. We can talk about how delicious this smoothie is. His name is Claude, Dr. Claude Anderson. I'm going to type it in the chat. And I think that I'm going to post in the chat too. I'm going to post a link to the video that I'm watching right now that is blowing my mind. It's very emotional too because I'm posting the link, and oh no, what I ended up just posting was that's not what I wanted to post. No, I want to post the link to this video. Excuse that noise, guys. I'm posting a link to a video that I'm watching because I think I think on Wednesday I'm going to include this link because I think that these Sunday discussions would be really cool if we like all did something together, like watched a video and then we can talk about it because some of it is really challenging, and I'm like because he focuses a lot on like how integration as it has manifested itself in the United States has not been so helpful for Africans, for Black people, particularly because once businesses were integrated, Black people tended to prefer to shop at white stores because now they were allowed to go and shop there. So people were so excited. So this practice of going to white-owned businesses, which were not necessarily because they were white-owned, but because they were the commercial mainstream businesses, meant the fall and deterioration of black-owned businesses. Yeah, so it's gonna happen, and that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be that video, and I'm assuming that most people won't watch the whole 2 hours. So I'm gonna, ask people to, I'm gonna pick a section for people to watch specifically to talk about, because he talks about everything from employment to slavery to wealth to the government to working for the government to conservatism. It's just this wild talk that's really, really beautiful. And in the speech, he just come back from Tuskegee, I think. He just come back from someplace in, I want to say, in Louisiana, maybe someplace near New Orleans. Absolutely. I'm going to put exactly which parts to watch. I'm going to say the number, I'm going to give the time to watch specifically. It might just be the first 30 minutes because he packs a lot into that first 30 minutes just to create a context for his talk. So I'm guessing it might be nice to just have people hear this historical context. And the video is from 3 hours ago, 3 years ago. And so, likely things have changed. I said 3 years ago, but it's 2016 now, and the video is from 2012, so it's from 4 years ago. Yeah, but we don't have to talk about now. So I don't have television, you guys. I just started learning about intersectionality. Yeah, intersectionality is a really interesting concept, and I found it, just a really useful shorthand to say that we have to learn about everything. Even if your focus is one particular issue, it's really important to learn about other forms of oppression, because when they work together, they work in very, very different ways. It's a little like a science experiment, right? By the way, is my volume okay today? Thank you, guys. Yeah, so the volume's good. Yeah, so it says, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm not reading what I'm responding to. So it says here, we're talking about intersectionality, and Mad Blender was saying, I just started learning about intersectionality, and there's so much to learn. Yeah, I was focused on veganism, found Marie and Janine, and then now you, and I'm trying to learn everything. And it is kind of a great ongoing process. And I think one of the things that I was kind of I didn't really have a choice when it came to having an intersectional approach to my activism in general, because I was coming to veganism, and that's ethical veganism, and particularly veganism as a movement, as a queer person, as an African American, and I couldn't not be aware of those things, right? I couldn't stop my focus on transforming the way society behaves or thinks about people from those groups, and I'm talking about the queer, the LGBT plus community, and the African community. And so then to be a vegan, and it's oh, now, wow, there's something else. There's something else to marginalize myself. And so it was really important for me to be able to talk to people from a lot of different backgrounds about veganism, and then to be able to talk to vegans about the other issues that I think kind of exist. And now, just so you guys know, that I've got mosquitoes. It's a long story. So I'm going to tell you guys, my basement is flooded. Home ownership. My basement is flooded, and there's been water there. We had terrible, terrible rains. You guys remember last week? I think I was telling you guys about the the rain, the flooding. Well, my basement flooded as well, and I hadn't even thought that that was going to be an issue for me, but it was. And so now, because of the standing water, which I didn't even realize was there for, yeah, it's terrible. Thank you, Mad Blender. Yes, yeah, Kearney, it sucks. So, I might show you guys. I might like next week. I might go down in the basement and show the standing water. It's gross. It's not the whole basement. It's just like that back half of the basement. I think Kearney, when you were here, you know you knew that we talked about the fact that there was like some drainage issues. That's kind of a city problem. But yeah, it stinks. One of the other reasons I was asking about volume is I think my neighbor is mowing the lawn, and I should probably get out there and harvest all the chicory before it's all gone. But yeah, so I was gonna say that. But yeah, intersectionality is something, and there's some resources that I found that are really awesome for just being able to talk about intersectionality. I think I made a video on intersectionality. Um, but there was a particular resource that was just, it might actually be, there's just so many. I found there's like intersectionality for beginners, but I found one particular article on intersectionality that I will try to share. I won't do it today. Oh yeah, thanks. Kearney, I don't know if you're still there, but this, if you didn't hear, this is a chicory and banana, and this is a and chicory, banana, apple, fresh squeezed orange juice, yeah, and some ice. And this is how much, well, I'm halfway there, you guys. It's okay, the timing is perfect. It's about 11:23. So I want to talk a little bit about stuff from last week. I don't know if you guys have been watching the video, but I made my Hump Day rant video was about this whole blackface thing, the blackface thing. You guys, I want to know, what do you think now that we're here to like have a discussion about it? What are people's thoughts? And I mean, like, I'm open to all feelings, like people who agree, disagree. I'm not here to like bash anyone or convince. I really just want to have a discussion, really want to know what people think about that. So for people who weren't aware of the story, I'm sure that everybody in here knows that there was a video that was made by Fully Raw Christina, and there was another video that was made by Joe Vegan. And Joe Vegan's, he was doing an imitation of Controvertible Snitch and put on blackface. He put on blackface, which is, you know, I guess if you feel like you have to look like Controvertible Snitch, if you have to match his skin color to be able to imitate him, I don't know. I don't know. I can't see myself doing Marilyn Monroe and like, you know, having to put on whiteface to do Marilyn Monroe. People would know I was doing Marilyn Monroe. So I don't know. Anyway, but anyway, that says, so he did the blackface in his video, and people were offended, and Fully Raw Christina just had her body painted, and they used, I know it was a garden. Okay, first of all, I'm so through with people. I'm so through with people reminding me that it was art and reminding me that it was supposed to be the Garden of Eden. Which, if you really want to talk about, how's she going to be doing the Garden of Eden on her back? Because the Garden of Eden, as far as I'm concerned, is kind of a racist concept. Because when people think about like Adam and Eve, do they see black people? Do you see black people when you think about Adam and Eve? Or do they not have a color? Or when people think about Adam and Eve, they think about, the dominant culture. I don't know, whatever. Every picture that I've ever seen of Adam and Eve, they were white. But I don't have a problem with that. But that's beside the point. So she's painting her body with the Garden of Eden, and they used black paint. And I understand the full effect that they were going for. They were going to have her body painted black, and she was going to be against that background, and all you were going to be able to see was the flowers, and that was all fine and dandy. But at the end of the video, she's just like this close to the camera, and her face is painted black, and she's got, these bright eyes, and she's got, her white teeth showing and all that stuff. And it looked just like minstrelsy. I want to show you an image of it. I don't know if anybody captured any still shots of Fully Raw Christina's face at the end of that video, but she just, yeah, Kearney says, no, man, they were totally white back then, the way God intended. You are wrong, Kearney. You're going to be banned to the corner. Kearney, you get right there. That's where you have to be, Kearney, in the corner. Yeah, I find it frustrating. People acting like the people who were offended were being ridiculous. Yeah, but I mean, and I guess that's, if you think about it, like, let's compare the way that people were responding to those who were calling out how problematic it was, to when, like, we talk to people who consume animals about consuming animals, right? Like, oh, you're being, it's like whenever the dominant culture is challenged, they come back so aggressive. Is it me? Or do other people find that that's true? That when the dominant culture is being challenged. I feel like somebody's knocking at my door right now, but I can't answer it because we're doing this broadcast. People shouldn't just come by the house. They should text me. Now, people are obviously welcome, but people should text me before they come by. So, yeah, people become so defensive. Or maybe it's us. Maybe we collectively in this room right now, in the space or on this broadcast, maybe it's us. Somebody is actually knocking at my door. Should I go and look? Can you guys hold it down? You know what? It's so funny because Sorsha did this in her video, and I was like, Sorsha, how do you leave when you're in the middle of a broadcast? All right, I'm going to come right back, guys, because somebody's at the door. I got to check and see. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so, oh my goodness. So, hey, you guys. So, first of all, come on in. So, I answered the door. I'm glad I did, you guys, because come sit right here. Come sit right here. So, you guys, I want you to say hello. This is my friend, Blair Anderson.
How y'all doing?
So, come over.
Okay, now I got it.
So get in. All right. So guys, this is Blair Anderson, who just randomly happened to be at my door. You were on your way to Church of the Messiah?
On my way to Church of the Messiah.
Which you're going to be late for.
No, we're not going to be late. Service starts at 12.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna tell them who you are.
Sure.
Okay, so you guys, Blair is a Black Panther,
Former Black
former
Panther.
Black Panther.
Hmm.
Because I don't know if you can be a former Black Panther or if you're a Black Panther always.
Yes. Well, let me rephrase.
Please please tell them who you are.
I was one of the original Black Panthers out of Chicago, a comrade of Fred Hampton's. I was there the night that he was assassinated. Uh, I think that my life was altered by my encounter with them, and my life course set on a revolutionary course, a justice course, and a course that impacted with Reggie Flowers.
So we are like how that ever happened. Black Panther from Chicago and a queer kid from Philadelphia end up being colleagues in Detroit, which is something that could probably only happen in Detroit.
Well, actually, as you know, if we read the history of the Black Panthers was one of the first of the Black nationalist organizations to recognize queer rights, women's rights, and so forth. When we left the strictly cultural nationalist or Black nationalist perspective and went to the international, inclusive of all people and all people who were being exploited, we recognized that in spite of the phobias and all of that, that queer people are a reality in our life and have been here throughout the history of humanity as far back as we can trace it, and that as revolutionaries, that are part of our role was to fight for justice for all people. So there's nothing new.
Cool.
I just had to stand on my toes
to give me a hug.
to give him a hug, literally.
This actually might be the first time I'm seeing you since I've been here.
Since you've been back.
Wow.
Yes, I've been very busy, a lot of challenges, a lot of great work in the neighborhood, great work.
Tell them what's going on in the neighborhood.
Well, what's going on in the neighborhood is that I am the liaison for the Charlevoix Villages Association. This started with my work with the Bach Center. For about a year, I was one of just several employees of the Bach Center. And that's how Reggie and I were introduced. Reggie had discovered this property, had purchased it, and he needed someone to help manage and watch out for it. And we started working together and introduced him to a lot of people. And he introduced me to a lot of people, helped me over a lot of challenges, because you know how heterosexual warrior men are, right? You need relationships with gay people. You need friendships that can nurture you to a healthy relationship. You need interactions. And so a 6'6", 8 Black gay male who says, I am who I am. If you don't accept that, later. And I'm like,
they don't know me that. They know me as like the really loving and accepting and tolerant,
right,
everything. But no, you guys are going to learn a lot more about me as you meet more people. But go ahead.
Yeah, and so we have experimented over a 4-year period with various ideas on how to engage community and what the resistance are, what the phobias are, and how do we in Detroit engage the LGBTQ community without it having. Why is it a battle in our communities? Then I'm also 36 years in prison. So at the time when I met Reggie, and our interaction, which was really consistent for several years, was really consistent. It reintroduced me to the evolution of the thinking on what community looks like, and challenged me personally in many ways, and challenged others in the community, and Reggie, So that's some of it.
Cool. So just so you guys know, I'm going to share with you some links so that you can know a little bit more of the background with the things that Blair is talking about. I have some info on like Fred Hampton and even the night that he's talking about in question, some information on the Boggs Center, which was started by James and Grace Lee Boggs,
Yes.
who were powerful community organizers, and powerful as in effective community organizers in Detroit for a very long time.
Yes.
Grace lived to be 100 years old and 100 days and just passed away.
Yes.
Became an ancestor back in October. But you guys I don't know if you guys are just like in the headlights now because there's this other person here. But this is a rare occasion. So like,
come on over here.
I've actually seen several. Do you want to like slip in?
Yeah, right.
I'm Neil.
You're Neil. This is, who are you?
I'm Nathaniel Potts.
This is Nathaniel.
I met Blair, what was it, 6 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
And he just grabbed me and started taking me everywhere and teaching me.
So
He's a contractor.
we're contractors.
We need contractors in Detroit.
Welcome. Welcome to Altspace. So yeah, that was great. I'm glad you guys came by here. And so I wanted to just create some space. You guys are kind of there. I'm sure you have questions, and there have been several. I've seen a lot of people like challenged and misinformed about the Black Panthers. In fact, I don't know if you guys are caught recently, but there were a string of videos that came out in reaction to Beyonce when she did her Formation video, and that she alluded to the Panthers in that video. And people were outraged and accused her of glorifying terrorism.
Yes. And the Black Panthers were never a terrorist organization. This is a complete myth constructed by COINTELPRO, by law enforcement. The Black Panthers, in fact, had, our emphasis was community service programs. And we're talking about at 16, 17 years old, I worked in the Black Panthers free medical clinic. I served breakfast to children, to thousands of children, and the Black Panthers served breakfast to hundreds of thousands of breakfasts before the government decided to co-opt the program. In fact, it is with a memorandum from J. Edgar Hoover, who was then the head of the FBI, that the popularity of the breakfast program meant that the government should take over and start feeding children to nullify the effectiveness of independent, sustainable service programs in the Black community. We had food giveaways, clothing, legal assistance, transportation assistance, protection in our neighborhoods. And the thing that the Black Panthers are the most noted for was defense of people under assault by law enforcement. That, remember, we were the Black Panther Party, not for attack. We were the Black Panther Party for self-defense of our community. That every human being has a right, even has an obligation to defend him, her, their selves from aggression by anybody. Nobody has the right to assault you, to oppress your humanity. And that's what the Black Panthers was about. There's something else about the Black Panthers.
Come on.
Our 50th anniversary is in October.
This month.
This month. So I'm headed to Oakland for the 19th, 20th, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. And I will be there with many of the icons of the movement. The international chapters are coming. This will be the biggest gathering of the Black Panthers in our history. And it will also be, we hope to come up out of this week of elders gathering with a critique, but also with some bullet points, with some guidance, some philosophical guidance for how we can help and resource the youth-led movements of today. So it's going to be a major, major thing, and I'm really happy about this.
That's awesome. I'm trying to think, like, should I go?
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
go.
Yes.
So there's a couple of things. I mean, I don't know if anybody, there's one thing, there's people could ask questions, but is there anybody who wants to jump on and guest and have a conversation with Blair while he's here? Blair was on his way. He was actually on his way to church, which is at noon, right?
Starts at noon. What time is it?
It's about 1:45. It's about
We're
11.
good. We're right around the corner.
Right. Okay. So he's got a little bit of time. He's got to walk to a service that starts at noon. But is there anybody who'd like to jump on and have like a little FaceTime with our guest? Nathaniel, yes?
Yes.
Nathaniel and Blair. No? Don't all jump at it at once, because otherwise I'm going to take it down a different direction. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about what Nathan and I are doing.
Come on.
Nathan was introduced to me by a young woman from Wisconsin, Rosie, who is an artist, who is a video tech person, media person. And she introduced me to Nathan because she has moved from Wisconsin to Detroit. And so Nathan came to stay in our community house over on Taylor Street in Detroit.
Okay.
He is a licensed contractor. So some of what we've done is address the issues that you faced here. We started an organization called the Detroit Trade Skills Cooperative. And what our goal is to help people get the certifications and the training and the certifications to do some of the remodeling, restoration, and the demolitions.
Mm-hmm.
And the demolitions.
It's interesting because I just met someone who is starting a program to work with groups that are doing similar work to what you're doing, so that people can get their college credits for doing that work.
Right.
They're called, and in fact, it's, I think, not that I mess with the state that much, but I think it's a state-run program. I think they're called registered apprenticeships.
Okay.
So you basically take whatever the program is and you kind of sign up to be a registered apprenticeship program so that the people who are engaged in it get college credits.
Get college credits, okay. And, oh, wow, that is, I would love to.
And I have the person's card in my wallet, and I will pass that information on to you as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And what our idea is poor folks, minorities can tear a building down. There are many, many obstacles to us getting registrations and license. Reggie, you rebuilt a house. You rebuilt a house, man. When we first came in here, there were no windows. There were leaks everywhere. There was mold, asbestos, holes in the floor.
Fire damage.
Burn damage. And we talking about major fire damage. We hauled it out. So we developed so many skills during that period until it would amaze you. And so what we're saying is that in our community, we should be the ones doing the demolitions because it gives us a chance to determine what needs to be demolished, to make sure that demolitions are done in a safe way. It gives our community organizations an opportunity to compete for hundreds of thousands of dollars in co-op owned businesses, which then empowers our community. And this is important. A big problem that our communities face is that we have to beg for funding. How about if we have our own enterprises that start infrastructurally? Because when you demolish a building, you go all the way down to the infrastructure. And if we're doing it right, then we're making sure that mold and asbestos and that the stuff is cleaned out and that virgin land is not contaminated, because many of the homes sit on adjoining lots and huge back and front yards that have never had anything virgin
So it's free
land.
from industrial waste. So they're
Thank you. You
like a
know,
lot of the metals and things that sit on lots that
Exactly.
contaminate them. Yeah. So and that's one of the things. One of the things about this property, as a matter of fact, that we discovered is that the soil was pristine, and it was the perfect place to do some growing, which is why we're working on that growing aspect. Somebody else that I was just talking about with everyone is Claude Anderson. Are you familiar with Dr. Claude Anderson?
yes, yes,
Okay.
I am. Yes, I am.
So that's going to be I've been assigning a video. So when we do the broadcast next week, we're going to actually talk about some of a lecture of Dr. Claude Anderson.
What does the clock look like?
The clock looks like it is now officially 1:45
Okay.
noon.
Okay, we're good. We're good. And we are.
So you probably got 4 minutes.
No, we're
before you-
driving.
Oh, you're driving. So you're good. You have 10
Yeah.
minutes.
We have 10 minutes.
Okay, nice. So while Blair is still here, is there anybody question? Because now I'm going to pull a surprise on you.
Okay.
Because AltSpace has been developing into kind of a vegan safe space,
Okay.
and I don't think we've ever talked about that aspect of
Okay.
my work, and the work has developed, I think, since the last time we spoke.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know, but there were groups here, and there was like issues about whether they were going to be vegan or not be vegan. What do you think about the standard American diet? What do you think about the question of bringing animals into the same analysis of oppression that we have had for years around certain groups who've been targeted of oppressions, particularly African Americans?
Okay. First of all, the standard American diet. A steak, a spoonful of tomatoes, a couple of string beans, and white bread. White bread. I just want to put that. My position has been for years that meat needed to be, if you were going to consume meat, it should be the side dish, not the main dish. Vegan, I wonder, I think it is the way to go. I have several, my grandchildren have never eaten meat, have never ever eaten any meat, white sugar, any of that. So what I'm wondering as we approach these issues is what about the economics of it for poor people and access to fresh vegetables? So that becomes, the question for me. Do we advocate for the community to go vegan, or do we advocate for some steps to be taken? How do we make sure that these so-called food deserts are turned into oases of vegetation and fruit and nuts and grains? And how do we help people learn how to cook them, how to preserve them? So it's, I think it needs to be a holistic approach.
I'm seeing that there's a couple things. Veganism is the most economical choice, also in terms of the health care of people. And, African Americans, as with everything, are on the front lines of all of these issues. Health, we're not even talking about like the environmental racism that's visited upon African American communities, but as a way to start, from living in the most lush place on the planet, Africa. I'm imagining, had to give, birth to the healthiest people on the planet. And now we're the sickest people on the planet. So that's just something to think about. I want to point out Vegan Sister, who I've just discovered, is here in the room, and I see you've come. I hope you're still there. Vegan Sister, you want to come up? You want to come up and guest? Do you know how to do that? And do you want to ask a question? You want to talk to Blair Anderson, former Black Panther Blair Anderson, who's the guest in the room here? You haven't done your hair? I got you. Next time. The next time I see you, but you better be ready to jump on. Is that okay? So it is about 10 minutes before this broadcast ends.
Okay.
I have some stuff to do. I got to get them all this information. I'm going to share links with everybody here and then sign out. But do you have any final words before
Yes.
you head down to Church of the Messiah, where I should actually be going
Yes.
myself?
Yes.
Vegan Sisters
I
suggested this,
finally getting
absolutely.
me there.
I know. I love Reverend Barry. Is one of my favorite people on the
Yes.
planet, and I'm going to tell you guys, I'm not a religious person, but I do go to Church of the Messiah because it's a place where the community
It's a
can come
spiritual
together.
place.
Yeah, and it's an organizing space. I find,
And it's
too.
an organizing space. So maybe at another broadcast we can talk about the programs that we're doing and how Pastor Barry and our team have reimagined what church means.
Mm.
You know, why is it that we have a church that is 60 or 70% young black males walking to church, riding bikes to church, and not escorted by their families? I also wanted to make one last announcement. One of my great pleasures and most inspirational pieces of work is that I have been blessed to be able to initiate the Black Panther Party Detroit branch History and Memory Project.
Mm.
Nobody knows, well, very few people know the prolific history of the Detroit branch of the Black Panthers, and we're getting old. And many of us are passing with information that the generations need about COINTELPRO, about intersectionality, and so forth. So please go online. We're on Facebook, Black Panther Party History Project. We need expertise. We need funding, of course. And we need to know any Black Panthers that you know that have information about the development and the history of the Detroit branch of the Black Panthers. That's it.
That's it.
All power to the people.
Power to the people.
All power to the people.
Love is struggle.
All power to all people. Black power to Black people. Listen, gay, lesbian, trans power to gay, lesbian, trans to queer people, period. Flat out. Flat out. Nobody has the right to challenge that. And if there anyone who does challenge the power of your community to be self-sustainable, I stand with you. Reggie Flowers stands with you. Nathan stands with you. Look at the diversity right here.
Nice. That's it. All right. I don't want to leave the folks, but I don't want to just have you go. But I guess you can find your way. You know,
I know how
you've been
to
in
go.
and out of
And
the
I'll put the lock in and push it.
Yeah.
All
Awesome.
right,
All right.
my brother.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
You give it love.
Hey.
It was so nice to meet you, man.
Nice meeting you again.
There's our guest. All right, you guys. Enjoy the service. Give my love to Reverend Barry. Wow. Totally random. I'm so glad I went down to answer the door, right? So this is turning into like Mr. Reg's neighborhood. So you guys know that I'm going to be including links in the description of the video once it's posted on YouTube. So I'll have information on Fred Hampton. I know that there's a Wikipedia article on the death of Fred Hampton and listing the people who were there and what happened to them. And so you'll learn there's a little bit of information on Blair there as well. He talked about the James and Grace Lee Boggs Center for Nurturing Community Leadership. And so I'll include some information on that in the description box. He talked about COINTELPRO, which if that doesn't sound familiar to you all, was actually a government-sponsored program to dismantle the Black Panther Party. So I'll include some information on that. He talked about the breakfast programs, and the last thing he talked about was the Black Panther Party History Project, which is his own project. So I'll include as much information on that stuff as I can find in the description box. It really is and it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It really is. From this morning, I actually thought about taking you guys outside, but you know, I need to have access to things for you. I need to be able to share stuff with you and look up stuff on the computer. And if it was just me with my phone out there, there's no way I'd be able to look up things if I needed to. So that was really, I'm like still like feeling it. That was really powerful. So now that Blair's gone, anything, do you want, like, what do you want? You want the dirt on Blair? You want the dirt on Blair Anderson? Or do you guys have any questions about, Blair or anything like that? Also, yeah, I like this guy too, Vegan Sister. So yeah, so just in general, and in terms of people guesting, I feel like anyone should be able to jump on and meet the viewers and talk about what you're doing and what's important to you. And I'm happy to share the platform with anybody who would like a chance to speak. If it gets to the point where hundreds of people are wanting to jump on and guest, we probably have to like come up with a system or just like limit the time that people can be on or what have you. But we can do it a little bit like kind of people like a call in, like on a radio station. Also, one of my viewers had suggested doing one day. Yes. What? So Try Vegan is here. Welcome. So yeah, people should definitely jump on and guest. I think I love that, and I'm trying to, if I'm jumping on someone's channel, I'm trying to keep myself kind of presentable so that I can jump on and guest in case they ask me to. So just know that especially if you're a content provider. Do I have a broadcast schedule? My broadcast schedule right now is Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where are you, Vegan Sister? Vegan Sister, I just sounded so square just now. Chicago! We were talking about Chicago. So when Blair's talking about Chicago, you probably know a lot of that history, yes? Do you know about the history of the Black Panthers in Chicago? Hey, Raw Access, what's going on, Al? You just missed it. I was just here with Blair and I was just here with former Black Panther Blair Anderson, and in fact, he was here for a good half of the broadcast. So, yeah. Who's Tina? Who is Tina? I have no idea what's going on right now. So yeah, it was awesome. It was an awesome talk. But you'll be able to the entire broadcast is going to be on YouTube. Yeah. Yes. So I think it's on. I think it's actually broadcasting for people on YouTube as well. So again, if you were watching this on YouTube and you wanted to ask a question, you can definitely leave a question in the chat on YouTube, but I won't see it until after this video posts live. But you can also, come back and leave, comments in the comments section. I am, in fact, this broadcast is ending at noon, and it is 11:59. So, and I'm here. I'm actually going to stay until I finish my smoothie. But we're probably gonna we're gonna end this in just a minute. But you have a master's in criminology, so my goodness. Vegan Sister says, I have a master's in criminology and I want to know all about that. I think there needs to be a conversation. We might have to get on, we might have to Google Hangout at some point and talk about what you know about that history. And I definitely will have Blair back. It sounds like Blair was interested in coming back. So I'm definitely interested in having him if he's interested in coming back. So yeah. So anything else? Mm. So that must be something. So Vegan Sister says there's a lot of history about gangs in Chicago, how they were started by Irish clubs who eventually became the police. And I believe that's true in other cities as well. I believe that's true in other cities as well, which is interesting. If you have, this one homogenized group kind of becoming the police force and coming out of a kind of criminal mentality. Not that gangs necessarily are criminal enterprises. I think sometimes we gotta like watch out because the police are. You could call the police a gang. You could call like the army a gang, right? Like once you organize yourself in a particular way and represent the right kind of power, your gang gets a new name, and the activities of your gang, even though it may look exactly like the activities of gangs that we would call criminal, that activity becomes sanctioned. So in this case, a gang in Chicago became the police force. Canadian Thanksgiving, I feel like I've maybe even been to Canadian Thanksgiving, not for a meal. But so Kearney is saying that it's Canadian Thanksgiving tomorrow. You want to go liberate some turkeys, Kearney? Anyway, so that said, we have gone on. I'm gonna chug this, you guys. All gone. All right. So you all, that's it for this broadcast. For those of you watching it, like it if you like it. Those of you watching it on YouTube, like it if you like it. Share, comment, subscribe. So I guess this is Reg signing off. Love yourself. Peace.